This conference will now be recorded.
In this section, we are going to perform lab on local and remote logging. So in order for F5 to log the details of request locally or remotely, you have to have a logging profile associated with the virtual server. So let's get started. First of all, I'll be going to security, event logs, and logging profiles. In here, I will create a logging profile. Let's give it a name as lab 10 logging profile. And I'll enable application security from with respect to this logging profile. Once I enable this, I'll get an option to store it locally or remotely. So for my purpose, I'll choose remote storage. I also have to define what is the logging format. And let's say I'm going to use UDP protocol for communication between F5 and the remote log server. The remote log server IP address, you have to define it here. So for now, I'm just going to use a dummy IP address as my remote log server. I'll just click on add. And from the storage filter type, I'll select my policy name. You can choose as much data as you want. And then what are the violations which are occurring? And then from the storage filter section, you also need to define what kind of details will get stored. So request type, I'll choose all requests. And then just click on fin. And from one more thing is I have to define my log facility. So log facility has to be local 3, which corresponds to var log ASM. And then I just click on finished. Once my log profile is created, I'm going to assign this to my virtual server. I'll go to security policies. And from here, I'll be selecting my log profile, moving it to the selected screen. And then just click on update. Once the log profile is attached, I will open up a CLI session and let's monitor the contents of my var log file, var log ASM. Now I'm going to perform some administrative tasks with respect to my security policy. So let me go to the learning and blocking settings of my security policy. And I'm going to change the enforcement mode from transparent to blocking. Then I click on save. The moment I click on save, in here, if I come back, you'll see an entry with respect to this administrative task. The enforcement mode has been changed to blocking. Then when I again click on apply policy, I'll see again new entries with respect to this administrative task. Then my policy got saved. Let us do some further changes. I'll expand the attack signature section and let's just disable this signature staging and then click on save, apply the security policy. So with respect to this as well, you will be able to see entries in the log file. Now let's go ahead and generate, access your application and generate a request which initiates a violation. So in here you see that the request got blocked. So ideally, this specific request, you will see that there is no new entry which has been created. So by default, what happens is this should be going to the remote log server. There will not be any entry with respect to illegal events which have been found while the request is getting generated on your ASM. So by default, since we know that these security events do not get logged in our var log ASM file, if I plan to change this default logging rule to log it locally, I can achieve this using a specific parameter which is called as send content events. So this is a specific parameter which you can change from your F5 configuration so that the security events start getting logged locally. In order to do that, you have to come to security, options, application security, advanced configuration, and then system variables. In here, if you just look for send content, you will get this specific parameter name. So at present, the value is 0, which means it is not enabled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this variable and change the value to 1. And whenever you are trying to change this, you will also see a specific note that you must restart the ASM service whenever you plan to change the value of this variable. So I'll just click on update so that the value gets changed. And then on my command line, I'll just run this command to restart the ASM service. Once I restart the ASM service, you would see that the ASM process which is getting restarted, corresponding log I can find in my var log ASM file. So you would see ASM stopped, ASM starting, and then ASM restarted successfully. MCPD bridge also restarted. So after this restart process, you would have to wait at least for around 3 to 4 minutes. And then when you reinitiate the request, which triggers an illegal request violation, you will be able to see the entries in your log file. So let's just wait for another 3 to 4 minutes and then we'll reinitiate this event logs.
This conference will now be recorded.
So after 3 to 4 minutes, if I again generate a specific request, which should trigger a violation, and then come back to the command line and look for the contents of varlog ASM file, I'll see a security event which gets logged. Request blocked, attack signature detected. And the request is get search script. So similar to this, let me try it again. I'll go back, again generate a request, click on go, again come back. I'll see a new entry which gets logged. So using this variable, I can make F5 log these illegal request violations locally on the system itself. So with this, we complete this section.